I'm just posting this reel of me waiting for you to come to record.
I don't have time for that shit right now. Listen, I spent all day yesterday and most of the day today preparing my 8-scale electric buggy. I mean, trimming this, shimming that, adjusting that, making it perfect. This is like taking it seriously, right? I'm like, there's no track that's open. I can't do a shakedown run. I have a brand new car. I can't go to a race with a brand new car. I said, okay, I'm just going to go out on the sidewalk, make sure everything works. The goddamn thing catches on fire. It caught on fire.
And I know.
So done. I am so done with 8-scale electric. I didn't even make it to the race. Already had a flame out.
Crazy. When you sent me that picture, I was like, look at this guy. You have bad luck, even though you are an e-buggy specialist. Anyway, enough about that. We're going to talk about...
I don't even understand what went wrong. Like this extra capacity thing. Well, you don't need it, obviously. I pulled it out, throw it in the trash. It still worked. Smells burnt as hell, but it worked. So let's see.
Yeah, let's see what your smelly, burny ESC e-buggy happens to smell like when it goes through like luggage. Maybe with triple dog sensors or something like that.
Let's see.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what? It's time to drop that.
Either. I have one pair of shorties. Let's see.
You're so prepared. So prepared. This is an Ebuggy Euros. This isn't like just a regular race. This is actually a European
championship. Feels
like
a club race. Definitely doesn't feel like a Euros.
Yeah. All right. You know what? We're going to talk more about that in a minute. But
I have 30 minutes. Hurry up.
If you keep interrupting me, it's going to be, you just know. I'm going to see you next month, so don't play around.
I'll book my flight now.
Anyway, you know what? We got to drop that intro and, figure out what's going on with your e-buggy, man. Figure it out. It's supposed to be some genius.
I'll do that in Slovakia.
Nitro is the glory, but Ebuggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right. And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. Yeah.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about
it. There we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. Welcome to episode number 189. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. And to my left, oh no, we're on the wrong sides. I can't even point to that side. Joseph? I can't look. Are you paying attention? I can't even point to that side. Right. Anyway, joining me for the first time in quite some time. The last time he was on there, he was kind of in a pissy mood. And he's kind of in a pissy mood today, too, because, his e-buggy blew up. And we all know that he's an e-buggy specialist. Let's welcome JQ. What's up, JQ? How are you?
Where are you? There you are. Yeah, okay. I was actually okay until I melted my side guard. And
I'm sure you have more. I'm sure you have more. Not to worry about your side guards.
Actually, good point.
Yeah, see, I made him remember his side guards. You know what, Joseph? If you find your side guards, I'm gonna do my thank yous. I'm gonna mute you while you find your side guard. Okay. always with JQ, never prepared, and he has limited time. But anyway, JQ is back with us. Going to answer some questions this week. Want to talk a little about the Ebuggy Euros coming up. Nick Daman is our guest this week as well. If you guys don't know who Nick Daman is, check him out. He's the guy I work with at RCGP, also the voice and face of RC Racing TV. It was a great chat with him. I really enjoy Nick when he's commentating. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody around the world that supports us, man. We can't do it without you guys, the NNRC squad. Me and Hurry are on 189 episodes. Joseph, did you hear that? We are at 189 episodes.
That's 188 more than I expected.
You say that every time. Should we just go to 200 and stop?
No, 200 has to be a special show.
Yeah, what we're going to do, we should do some giveaways for the 200th show.
We should do a 24-hour live stream. 20 hour for 200.
You overpromise and underperform. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do Facebook Lives every Thursday from now on out.
I know.
And
I know what we're gonna do.
What?
200. When is 200?
I don't know. Probably after Italy. July-ish, I would say.
How do you count it? It's not just the once a week show you count.
No, it's two, but I didn't do two this week. We only did one this week. Max is occupied now, so they tell me.
So 188. Yeah.
This is 189.
So maybe 8 weeks more.
No.
Less? 6?
Less. Like after in July, or less. Because we'll do 2 next week because there'll be races this weekend. We got Ebuggy Euros, we got NCT, all the stuff.
Sometime in July.
Yeah, but I got some stuff we can give away.
So I guess we have to have a live where we just get really wasted.
No.
Yeah,
we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Anyway, you are interrupting me from doing my thing, so I'm glad that you've calmed down and you've got into things. Mute yourself. Anyway, guys, thank you for all the support. We greatly appreciate it. To the NNRC squad around the world. I mean, honestly, we can't do it without you guys. So thank you. Thank you to the patrons of the podcast. You guys go the extra mile. We greatly appreciate it. You guys got early release of this podcast. And I think I have a Patreon giveaway coming up here soon. I have something I want to give away. And we'll see, or we'll do a Patreon giveaway on the 200th episode, and you guys will have your own separate giveaway. We'll see. But we do have a Patreon pod coming up, and Max gets some free time. I want to get his impressions on getting back to racing, and maybe even when this guy gets back and from the Ebuggy Euros, we'll see what happens. Also, if you guys wish to be a patron, the link is in the written description of this podcast. Excuse me. I'm still recovering from my cold and dust stuff that I had from Silver State. Thank you to the awesome sponsors of this podcast. Remember, everybody, showing the sponsors some love shows the podcast some love. Invisible Speed, we're going to talk to Joseph about that in a minute. I know he's been busy with that. TZO Tires, I was talking to Nick this week. I'm waiting for them to get their website up and going. And a lot of people are asking about it. Hitec RC, shout out to Hitec RC and for all their support and continued help. TNR Fuels for their help. It was good to see Chris and his family last weekend. Excuse me, everybody. Beach RC, thank you, Brent and Lucas, for all your continued support. Tekno RC, thank you for the MT410. Matt Walter, I greatly appreciate that. And Jared Tebow for all his time. Lugs Racing Tires, was good to see Bryce and Nibs and all those guys at Silver State. They said they got some new stuff coming out. Mayako just released their new website. Going to talk to JQ about that real quick. Looks pretty good. JQSM, G-Spec RC tuning for all your cabling needs. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic for all your traction needs. Remember, we have a discount code for him as well, a long-time sponsor. Racecraft USA. Rocking my hat. But yeah, check them out. Racecraft. It's got the new hats. They got some cool products coming out. Chase was actually on Ran Out of Talent. Yes, Ran Out of Talent, sorry. With Joe Zaire Jr. was a great podcast with him. Got to get Chase back on her again sometime. Check out Racecraft USA to get pitted. Clinic RC. Drakes are selling their air filters. The air filters are super popular. Also, check out his new buggy and truggy droop gauges. JTP RC, so he was testing his new engine this weekend. Just posted up a video this past, I think it was yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see if he's going to be running them shortly. Shout out to RCGP. I think that's dropping this week. I'm not sure. House of RC, RC Kevin. And shout out to the Viking and the Doctor. Super busy dudes. So everybody, Remember, there are links for these sponsors in the written description of this podcast. Every little bit helps. There's affiliate links. There's coupon codes. We greatly appreciate it if you can go and show the sponsors some love, and it helps us out a lot. Real quick, I have to shout out to a few people before I go on. Happy birthday to EKJ 24,000, Corey Jordan. It's his birthday today as we're recording. Happy birthday to you. Big support of him. Go support, big support of the podcast, and we support him. So go check out his YouTube channel, EKJ 24,000. Give him a like and a sub. His interviews are getting much better. Everything's getting better with him. You know what, JQ? Cody is graduating tomorrow as we record this. So congratulations to Hot Sauce Cody Watson. You're muted. He's graduating tomorrow. It feels like I've known Cody since he was like 12, but I've known him since he was about 15, and it's good to see him graduating. He's one of the young guys that have come up through the JQ ranks, which I'm, super proud of him, and he's finally going to be graduating and good. I think he's going to work and do RC. Jimmy Deprez, this is cool, Joseph. This is you. Unmute yourself for a second because I'm going to give you and Mayako some props here. I saw that Jimmy Deprez got an Ackerman plate named after him for the Mayako car.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so one thing about the membership and the Discord is that people can influence the actual final design of stuff, because sometimes we'll just show CAD images even before samples, and then also once everyone gets samples, then of course they can send feedback. So he just had the idea to add a groove in the Ackerman plate, and a threaded hole in the steering plate above, so you can thread a screw down and lock the steering dead center. So then you can adjust everything, all the steering angles and front camber and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Do all your adjustments. Also adjust your steering trim so it's centered. You know where the center point is, and it's just a really helpful thing. And I really like using it. So then I was thinking when we were designing the laser engraving stuff that, hey, we should add his name here, because it was a really good addition that he came with. So
I thought it was pretty cool. He posted up on Facebook, then posted it in the group, and I was like, that's badass. Congratulations. We'll talk about Mayako's website in a second. And I want to send out some positive vibes to my good friend and our friend, Joseph Tony Scarsella. He's in the hospital. We wish him a speedy recovery. He's having some heart surgery. He apparently had a heart attack. He didn't even know about it last week. Yeah. But he was still normal. So he had to go in. He had to have a serious operation on Monday. So we wish you all the best, Tony. Speedy recovery, and hope to see you at the races again here soon for RCGP later on this year. Thank you to the people at HRCR. They were the hobby shop at Silver State. They were really nice people. They were friends with Tony, him, his son, his wife, all really great people. They treated me really good all week. They gave me, I was going to buy they had a used little AE8 scale, 1/18 scale car. I wanted to buy a new one because Tony actually gave me one for my son when I went to DNC. And then I wanted to get another one for my daughter, or just to race with my daughter. So they had a used one, and I was going to buy it from them. I wanted to buy a new one, and they ended up giving it to me. And I really appreciate it. He was very nice. His son, they're just nice people, man. Very nice people. He's got a nice carpet track up there in Idaho. Check them out, man. Give them some likes. HRCR. Very nice people. And yeah, they're just really good people. They had some nice stuff. They were busy. They raced 5th scale, everything. They were super busy people. And with that said, I just want to say shout out to everybody that I saw at Silver State. Joseph, a lot of people were asking for you. They were asking more where the Europeans were, and I had to explain to them that the IBC race and the Euro warm-ups were the weekend before, so it was really hard for you guys to come there.
Yeah.
So, but they kind of understood it. But hey, it was a great event, and I remember messaging and saying, Joseph, you need to come to this race next year. That's what I said to you. You would enjoy it.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think it's the type of track that you like. You don't need a rental car. You don't need all that type of stuff. I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, timing is bad.
That's the only thing. It's like you're back in Europe at that time. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. All right, real quick. All right, Joseph, I think that's it. Oh, race announcement. Coming up is the US RC race at Slideways Raceway, South Dakota. Stephen Dale and Tyler Jones and Brandon Rose are going. Check it out for Rob Isaac. And those guys, they're branched out of that region, the Virginia region, that Southeast region, in the Midwest now. So check them out. That's happening in July. And yeah, good stuff. JQ, so you've been busy. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to. I see Invisible Speed's out. It's got is Robert doing actual translations now, like the whole thing?
Yeah. So he re-records the videos, sort of the talking bits in Spanish, and then sends me text transcripts of all the text that appears in the video in Spanish. And then for me, it's a really good way of learning Spanish. Because,
Really?
well, yeah, it's kind of funny because he's explaining everything in Spanish, and I have to know where to add, the text so the timing is right, or some B-roll footage or something. So it's kind of funny.
Good.
So, yeah.
It's. I mean, you know quite a few languages, so I mean, learning one more shouldn't be too hard. Spanish is close to Italian.
I would actually like to learn Spanish.
I mean,
it would be nice to know.
Yeah.
I think I'll try doing that.
So what's up with Invisible Speed? Give us a little run through. What does that mean? How's it going? What's up? You've been busy editing too.
Yes. So Invisible Speed, we need to get the message out more so people know what's happening, what it's all about. Because, so there's the book. You can read the book. Nice. Then there's the course. You can see that same stuff in video form. Even better. But then the best is actually the Discord channel. You get access if you buy the full course. And there we have 4 weeks of lives every day. We had the first week already. The next full week will be in July. And now between that time, so in June up to July when we have the next week, we'll have some homework. So we go over ride height, camber, shock oils, shock springs, the basics of setup. I think Droop was in there too. And the idea is that everyone tests these things at their home tracks and then provides feedback in a Google document. So we gather all the feedback, then we can have a couple of lives just to go over the feedback and see what we learned. So we are learning all the different setup things. So not just having someone explain it to you, but we sort of do it together and learn it. So I think the first week was quite good and well attended. There's I can't remember, 30, 40 people in the lives.
I caught the M part of that.
Yeah, you were in there at some point. Yeah. So, the more people there are, the better, I would say, because then there's more interaction and more questions and better questions. And yeah, I hope that once I start releasing a bit more information on YouTube now in the coming weeks, that more people will see the value and they'll get the course.
Yeah. Also, how much is the course now? Tell everybody that.
It's about $200, so 194 euros. You can also pay over 2 months, so 100 each month.
Okay. So check it out, everybody. The link for that is in the written description of this podcast. Also, Joseph, I see you doing Thursday live. You're supposed to do one tomorrow, but you'll be in Slovakia, so I guess that's not happening. You should just say, I'm going to do a live once a month. And anything after that.
No, every Thursday that I'm in Finland, I can do one. So I'll be doing those lives.
Okay. Barry Baker wants to do a live with me. I'm wondering if I want to have you or Max on to do that. Though.
That would be funny.
I know.
If Max was on.
Oh my gosh. Barry really loves Max. That's all I got to say about that.
I would like to have a live with me, you, Max, and Barry.
I mean, we can make it happen, but it'll be late. Or maybe we just record, but even recording would be late because he works a regular job. So I'm pretty sure that would get very out of hand. I would be more a referee than anything else. All right. Mayako website's up. I was looking at it earlier. It looks good. So what does that mean? Are Mayakos available to be bought now and shipped out? And what's going on?
Mayakos have been available since 1st of January or something. I can't remember.
Right. But anyway, I mean,
January anyway.
Production cars are going out and all that type of stuff now.
Production cars have been going out now for a few weeks.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Yeah, so the website is good because now there's a place to sort of showcase the products and share information and eventually post a guide specifically about the car and all of that stuff.
It looks good.
So.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
start building mine. I finally finished that all white car that I got from you this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I finished it. I'm in RC mode right now. Wrenching. I need to get the instructions for my Mayako. All right. All right. So since you've been going, you was at IBC. I know you said you don't remember much about it. I don't know how you forgot about that, but just touch on that real quick. It's gonna be the Euros is gonna be there. What did you guys learn there at IBC with the new car on that high grip surface? That was always a surface that the BE struggled on back in the day, and a surface that you don't like personally, but you kind of liked it.
I think we'll have a good Euros. The car was good, even better after on the Monday when we stayed to test. So I think we'll have a good Euros.
I gotta ask the question: what happened in the Euro warm up final? Like, they just decided to change. Did they decide to just treat it as a warm up?
Changed tires. Like, he did most of the warm up, then pulled in to change tires, and then it was really late. And even if everything had gone smooth, I think he would have had to start from the pits.
Mm-hmm.
But his front hex pin came out, of course. So then he missed the start by like 15, 20 seconds. And then he sort of got back in the mix, nowhere near the top, but sort of mixed.
No, he fought his way up to like fifth,
4, 5, 6 sort of positions. But then he flipped at the end of the straight and hopped the fence, and that was another 16, 17 seconds lost. So then it was done. Basically, missing the start and that one crash was a whole lap. So,
I mean, at the start of the IBC main, he was in third, and then on half a lap in, he got flipped over on that 180, and I was just like, oh man, he just went right to the back. That track, if you make one mistake, you're right to the back. That's how fast it is.
But it's good to get those out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Get those out of the way at the warm up.
Right, and so that's good. How about you? You was actually pretty excited for a little bit. You actually was doing well for a little while. Where did you end up finishing?
I was the first one not to make the semi. I was in the quarterfinal and I was in a bump spot, and then like right at the end, the Neumann got me.
Dude, Norman looks so weird without a hat. Is it his new thing?
Yeah, I guess so.
I can't get used to it.
Yeah, because you always saw him with a hat before.
I call him Yorn No Hat. All right. So you guys got to stay for another day of testing, and the plan was to go to Redovan, but you canceled that because of rain, correct?
Yeah, rained out. We got rained out in Spain.
Well, unfortunate. All right, so you are headed off to the Ebuggy Euros in Slovakia tomorrow. What's the lineup looking like? I mean, like the Killex are going. I think everybody should be there, I would say. First big Euros of the year, off-road Euros, since COVID, actually. Yeah, look at that. First big off-road Euros since COVID.
I actually don't know who's going. I haven't seen a list.
I think everybody's going. The Killex are going. They were just in Spain. Yeah. They're going. Like, I'm sure Robert Canas, Boots. I mean, maybe not Boots.
By the way,
yes,
I heard that the World Championships aren't actually set in stone yet.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's what I heard, that it's not.
Like they might not happen?
It's not actually decided that they are definitely happening, which is really weird.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, what the hell? Like, some people have already booked stuff, I'm sure.
I mean, what is the Worlds is in September. It's now May, June.
Yeah, so apparently
June, July,
they have
August.
some meetings still about that.
You got 3 months because it's at the beginning of September. You got 3 months to make, like what? They need to make some decisions.
They need to figure that out.
Yeah, we won a Worlds. I think they're worried. Well, I think they think like a lot of the Americans are going to come. But when I was... I think they're going to...
Scientists don't go, it doesn't matter.
I think they're going to go. Like Tessman's going. I think Fenn's going. Like Tessman's headed over to the World warm-ups. So we shall see. But they need to make up their mind because they're going to have people coming for Worlds warm-up soon. So they need to make up their mind there. And I don't... Is regular... How's COVID there? I mean, do you have to have like still... Is it... Like, I don't know. What are they... Like traveling and whatnot?
No. There's no real restrictions now, it seems. Like, if you come from outside of Europe, maybe you have to be vaccinated or whatever. But that's about it.
Yeah, so like when I go to Italy next month, that's a great segue. Anyway, real quick before we go into Italy, I want to know what's your thoughts on the Ebuggy Euros. Now, even though your Ebuggy's blown up, you think you guys have a good chance? I saw that Orlowski and Bear and Coelho were there practicing at the warm-ups. I think the warm-ups were I can't remember. Like the weekend after IBC, I want to say. The warm-ups were, maybe they were at Silver State. I don't know. No, they couldn't have been. Anyway, what are you thinking? Is Ronafog ready? Is the Viking ready for Ebuggy? I mean, he's really good at Ebuggy.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if he was ready at DNC, basically like running the car one time or something,
yeah,
then yeah, he's gonna be fine.
And no Zankatine because he broke his leg playing football.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that.
Well, I mean, he probably got tackled. I mean, it's a physical sport. Like, yeah, soccer people. Anyway, hopefully he's in shape for RCGP Italy, which we'll be going to next month. Will I need like COVID tests and all that there I should be all right. I'm fully vaccinated and all that there. Maybe to fly over there from her.
Probably only the vaccination is enough.
All right, cool. It should be good. I'm looking forward. I fly out of Santo Domingo to Madrid and then land in Milan. And hopefully get a lift with Stefan or one of those guys. I'm super excited about that. All right, Joseph. One more subject I wanted to touch on. So I had a little TikTok video go somewhat viral during Silver State. And it was just a video of that fifth scale car leaving the pit lane at Silver State. And I put up a few more fifth scale videos and stuff like that. And I just have to say, Joseph, those little short fifth scale videos get way more views and way more traction than any 8 scale stuff I put up there. It's crazy.
The fifth scale stuff?
Yes. Because it looks real. It looks scale. And it's big and people can follow it. Crazy. Like an 8-second video of a car leaving a pit lane is like 108,000 views. I know that's not a lot in the big scheme of things, but for me, my most views I got on TikTok was 4,000. So that's crazy, man. Honestly, we're looking at the wrong things, I think, here sometimes. We need to get those things out in front of people. All right, Joseph, you know what? Enough catching up. Let's get on to some questions. We have a few questions.
Yeah, we have like 10 more minutes.
No, you have until we finish the questions and do our conclusion. Don't rush me, son. Because you're getting close to 40 now doesn't mean you can start telling people what to do. You're still younger than me, you know. Still younger than me. Hey, so you was at the track with Max the other day. How was it to be back at the track with your Padawan?
It was okay. I think he was struggling a bit.
Well, it's a new car. You've had plenty of time on it. He's got to get readjusted.
Yeah.
Well, Max has also got the RC Racers one dreaded thing happening to him right now. Huh?
Has a girlfriend?
Yes.
Yeah, he lost his virginity. That's why he was struggling.
Yeah.
Silly me.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, he's got a girlfriend. That's why he couldn't record this week, apparently. He tried to slip that by me, like it's like, oh, I'm getting all my girlfriends. I said, rewind, girlfriends. Rewind that, Max. Anyway, good. We'll have Max back next week. And he's probably gonna be mad that we're talking about his girlfriend here that we don't know about. Maybe she's imaginary like his brother, Rex.
Yep.
Have you seen his imaginary brother, Rex?
I have, so I know that he exists.
I have like never seen a picture of them together. Never seen like Henry with a picture of him. So maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe he just doesn't leave the house or something. All right. Anyway, you know what? It's time for the Rc Benchracing Q&A, and we're going to answer some questions that you guys sent in for us. Not much, but we got some. So with that said, let's get cracking.
BeachRC.com, the Racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at beachrc.com today.
And thank you to Beach RC, Brent, and Lucas for their continued support. Lucas just dropped another great video. He did a Nitrolux commercial, which I thought was pretty good. So thank you guys for the support. There is an affiliate link. If you guys can use that, it helps us out a lot. Go down there and show Beach RC some love. Thank you guys for all the support. A real brick and mortar hobby shop. Our first question of the week comes from our good friend Zach Ryan down in Australia. He wants to know, how often when testing do you do blind testing? It's so easy to think you're going in the right direction, but it's just in your head.
Very rarely, because I don't really have someone who could do that with me. Because to do a blind test, you obviously have to have someone who can make the change and be in pit lane and do all that, so you don't see what the change is. I mean, my memory is pretty bad. Sometimes I do blind tests in the way where I go up there and I'm driving like a 5-minute result, and halfway I start thinking, what the hell did I change on the car? And then I try to figure out what I changed. But yeah.
Okay.
Blind
When would you
good,
use that though? Would you recommend blind testing at any point? Or is it just
it's really good. I think for me it would be really good to do with Ronnefalk, for example, because then you really get the real feeling. Like there's no placebo and there's no sort of saying what's expected, or he has an expectation in his mind and then he just says that. Like it's the actual thing. What did he feel? Doesn't know what's been changed. You look at the lap times and he explains to the best of his ability what he felt.
Yeah, I remember when you was doing some 100 parts. People would ask, what does this part do? And you would always say, "Oh, I'm waiting for you to let me know what it does." So if I tell you what it's doing, you're just gonna automatically think that it's doing that. So good question. Next question, Connie Svensson, House of RC. What's up, Connie? He says, an RCGP gearing team, if you could pick 7 different manufacturers and and their 2 drivers, who would they be? All right, so who would we pick? Mugen,
Wait,
TLR.
for RCGP?
Yeah, Mugen, TLR.
So 7 teams?
Yeah. Mugen, TLR, AE, Tekno, HB. Oh, I'm running out of teams here. We ain't got enough spots.
Well, I'll tell you.
Mayako, and who else would be the 17? Who am I missing?
S-Works. So I would
S-Works.
say Mayako, S-Works, Tekno, TLR, Associated, Mugen, and X-Ray.
Oh, I forgot all about X-Ray.
I would say those.
Yeah,
That
that's
would
a
be
good.
perfect.
Yeah,
field.
so it will be Riot, Mayfield, and who from Mugen? Robert.
Yeah.
From X-Ray, Coelho, and Tasman.
Yeah.
TLR, Fend, and Cav, obviously. AE, Ongaro, Rivkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, who else do we? Tekno, who would you pick? Tebow and Barufalo? I picked Barufalo.
Tebow and Barufalo, yeah, probably.
I'd pick Barufalo because I think he's good, but I also know that fireworks are coming. And S-Works, I'll take Bornhorst and Canas because we need somebody that can. Well, maybe I don't know. Yeah, Bornhorst and Canas maybe. All right, next question. Who would you guys pick? That's what we want to know. Write them in the comments. Who would you guys pick? What manufacturers and who would your teams be? Did we miss anybody? No. Hey, JQ, this is from Austin Schaefer. How can you on the track when you should make a spring change? How can you tell on the track when it's time to make a spring change?
Well, I mean, first of all, you should have sort of a basic setting. You have a spring that you normally run. And then if you go to a very loose track, you'll already know, like, okay, maybe maybe I need to make a spring change on here. And then you see how the car is. If it just feels like a stiff plank, no movement at all, then maybe that's a situation where you would go to one step softer spring. Or if you go on a high grip track, you already know, okay, maybe this is super high grip. Maybe I need to go to a harder spring. And then if you feel that the car is just moving around so much, when you brake, the nose dives a lot. When you accelerate, the car squats, corners, it's rolling. Like all the movements of the car are just so big. And maybe you go to a harder spring. But to be honest, spring changes are relatively rare, because you adjust everything else around that. Like the sort of, you find a good spring and you pretty much stick to that. That's what I find, at least.
Do you change more of your oils and pistons before springs?
Yeah, oils and pistons and anti-roll bars and camber, droop, ride height, all that stuff. Anti-squat. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for the question, Austin. Benjamin James, I found some old videos of IFMAR races and watching Masami Hirosaki got me wondering, who is today's most versatile driver in RC? I think it's Bruno Coelho.
Yeah, I think that Coelho and Ronne Falk are probably the two most versatile drivers.
Well, I say Coelho.
They are literally good enough to win in any class, I would say.
I would say that too. Well, we'll see how the Viking does at the 10 scale. I think he's doing the 10 scale touring car, Euros and Worlds. But I mean, Coelho has 2 world championships. He has a national championship. He has a European championship. He has a world championship in electric, right? And nitro on road, I believe.
I don't know what he has, but I just know that he can do electric and nitro on road and electric and nitro off road.
Yeah, he's probably the most
scale,
versatile guy. Yeah, he can switch between those 4 disciplines so easily. I see Hootie was at a electric nitro race this past weekend. I think it was it might have been an ENS. I'm not sure, or some race he went to. So it looks like X-Ray might get back into racing. So yeah, I would have to say one of those two, and then I would even throw Cavallari in there because Cavallari's dabbled in some on road as well. So and then you got Hara. Wow, it's a couple of guys you can throw in there, but at the moment,
yeah, but he's done now.
Yeah, Hara's kind of done. Yeah. David Bowman, will Beaker race in the Euro EB, and will the Mayako rise and shine there? That's your buddy David from Austria.
Yeah, of course I'm racing unless it catches on fire again.
He's gonna need an ESC.
I have another one.
All right, here's a question you might like, Joseph. This is from our Discord. He goes, why, I don't know this guy's real name. He goes, why manufacturers don't release their numbers, be it engine crank port timing or the cases specifically the Mayako, basic suspension geometry. It literally takes 30 minutes to measure if you have it. And in my view, could only discourage potential buyers. Like it's impossible to keep them secret once someone measures your secret super velocity SV mega fast ultra special engine. It's public knowledge. Same as the suspension.
I mean, most people and companies are just too lazy to measure. So why would you release the information? Originally, I was going to put false information out. Like I would say that the caster is this, but it's actually not. Like I'll say that, okay, we have 18 caster, but it's actually something else.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, no, I can't do that. So then just decided I wouldn't release any numbers. The reason I did that was originally because of the whole 17.5 thing. So HB had caster, which was 17.5. Then they won the world championship and everyone made 17.5 C-hubs as if that's why. Like, it's just so stupid. So I thought, okay, that's it. I'm not going to release any numbers. So if Mayako has some success one day, at least the people who want to copy will have to measure it for themselves.
Is it Torrance the Guzman always asking you what is your KPI?
He used to, yeah. I never told him.
I don't know. I guess people should just measure it.
Yeah, but actually it's not that easy to measure precisely.
That makes sense. All right.
I'd like to see this guy do it in 30 minutes.
Here, JQ challenge you. Do it in 30 minutes. Get on Mayako and tell him all the measurements. Sean Alcorn. Should people like Degani and Fisher run in pro? He says, should we cap entries and double the entry costs or make the entry costs more? And referees at majors. So this is still talking points off of Silver State. So I knew this was going to happen. I mean, Sean's just cool. This is what everybody's talking about. Degani went in intermediate, right? And a lot of people came out of Silver State wanting, talking about cap races and just paying more, and referees at these races because there's a lot of rough driving. So should people like Degani and Fisher run in pro? I mean, Degani was running pro until they made the rule that if you run 40 plus, you can't run pro. So he would still be in pro. Fisher, who hasn't raced in years, he's more there to mechanic for Bornhorst, race second. Yeah, he's still good. I mean, I don't know, like Greg being in like the bottom of the sea at pro, what does that really mean? Like, I knew once he won intermediate, there would be a lot of questions asked about this. But the bottom line is, man, it's pretty simple. I think that, I know this is going to piss off a lot of people, but I think there should be 40 plus should just be one class. So if you run 40 plus, that's what you run. Exactly. You know what I mean? If you run 40 plus, you can run 40 plus in buggy. And then if you want to run 40 plus in intermediate, they have all the 40 plus classes, right? So to be truly fair to everybody, that would be the ideal thing to do. That way nobody gets any more runtime than anybody on one class. Now, I do know one series of people that are doing this stuff in the NCT. They actually have a spec tire class that anybody can enter. So that's like for people who don't have a 40 plus, who aren't 40. So the 40 plus guys can't enter the spec tire class, just so you know that. They can enter 40 plus and they can enter whatever class nitro they want. So the spec tire class is to give all the people that aren't 40 a chance to have an extra class on that chassis. I mean, that's two solutions right there, but that adds another class to the whole thing. You know what I mean? But I don't think we're ever going to see that because it's just too much money lost at that level. You're talking about, look, it's 100 entries for intermediate. Let's say it's 100 entries for intermediate F40 plus. Let's say 75 to 80 of those are spread out between sportsman and intermediate. That's another $99,000, $10,000 in entries right there. So that's probably one of the reasons it's never going to happen. So to be ultimately fair, you should run 40 plus and that's it. But I get it. And this is how it is. I mean, if you really want to complain about something, that's what the complaint should be. But should Greg be an intermediate? I mean, should Drew Moshogan be an intermediate? He was like way faster than Greg, but he just kept making mistakes and couldn't pass him. I mean, all Greg did was drive like 2002 and make no mistakes. That's all he did. That's all he did. He didn't drive spectacular. Nothing. That's all he does. And he drives what? He doesn't practice. So I don't know. People were pissed off about that. Referees at major. You think we're going to have referees at DNC next year, Joseph?
No, it's not going to happen.
I think it is. Let me tell you why. Joey came on the mic before the pro man and was like, hey guys, we've been having a lot of complaints about rough driving. You guys are the top echelons of RC. We want the best driving from you guys on Sunday. People cried about it. Like, people made enough noise about it. Maybe we'll see referees at this race, at this race and at DNC next year. And then maybe PMB and all those races will get them. That would be great.
I don't know. I doubt it. By that time, everyone will have forgotten, and that's it.
Yeah, it's always like this after a big race. It's like Raw. Everybody made the noise about Raw. And then as soon as the Nationals came around, everybody forgot about it. It was like, oh, yeah. So, I know how it works. There was a lot of comments after that, but that's about it. Shout out to my boy Tiny. He's been racing a lot lately. How about I know we are all about caps and entries. I know this probably isn't going to happen at none of these races because some of these races are about being the most entries, but some do have, like Dave has his AMS, which he caps, and Southern Nats, which will be capped, but not like AMS. So I think there's room for both races. I think people should try both races. Me personally, I like them both, but if I was racing, I would pay more to have more runtime and not be at the track as so long, you know, or I'd be at the track just kind of hanging out. So yeah, that's about it, Joseph. That's all our questions for this week. I'm surprised. I thought we would have had much more. But thank you everybody for the questions and the continued support. Please visit Beach RC if you can use that affiliate link. It really helps us. Thank you to Beach RC for their continued support. We're going to go on to the Tekno RC main interview with Nick Daman.
Tekno RC. Tekno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.teknorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Tekno RC. Excellence in engineering. #Tekno Takeover.
So joining me this week, actually, he gave me a lot of crap for this when I saw him at RCGP in, was it March? We was there? Yeah, March.
Yeah.
Flying by. He is the voice of RC Racing TV. He is also, for me, my favorite race caller of all time. I'm actually a little bit of, you know, to work with you is actually a blessing for me because I've watched you and just listened to you so much. Like, you know, most of the Neo races, all the Euros, all the stuff. This is the man. This is the voice behind RC Racing TV, Mr. Nick Daman. How are you, Nick?
I'm good. How are you, Keenan? You're making me blush. Hopefully the color contrast isn't showing too much. But yeah, it's very nice of you to say that. I must be somebody's favourite because I'm getting up, people go, "You're bloody awful."
I love your style. I love your phrases. I love the stuff that you come up with. I think my all-time favorite phrase was like scalded cockroaches. I still think that's my favorite phrase of all time. But welcome to the show. You did give me some crap for not having you on her. You said you've had David, you've had Matt, I did have you on the starting grid.
Like 3 years ago, before the whole thing even started, before season 1, so the beginning. So it's been 3 years, and you've managed to talk to everyone else, you know, in the entirety of the RC world apart from me. So it's my turn to come on again.
There you go. So also, I have to give him your credit. I did not come up with the term scale motorsports people. This man did. And I still hope that more people use this instead of toy cars, because it seems to be only toy cars when people lose.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Nick. Where are you from? How did you get involved in RC?
Well, getting involved in RC was when I was 15, 16. So I've actually been racing RC since 1982.
That's a long time.
Yeah, so I was yes, it is a long time. Very, very. Yeah, it was the only thing I did for about 7 or 8 years. Which was the height of the 1/10 electric off-road craze in the UK. Then I kind of stopped for a while, like a lot of us do, get to a certain age, and discover girls and responsibility and that sort of stuff. I actually did a couple of years of karting, and then several years of not very much. Then in 1996, by a succession of strange coincidences, which just goes to show you need to be lucky rather than good, I ended up working in motorsports journalism. It's a story that's way too long to tell on this podcast, but I'll just say the reason I ended up working in F1 for 7 years, was because I was wearing women's clothes. I'll leave it at that. True story. But yeah, a complicated way. But so I ended up working. I literally started at the top. I ended up with my first paid thing I ever did in motorsport journalism was actually the 1996 Italian Grand Prix. And I ended up again by Civico's being the interviewer there. So I was interviewing for Birdie's Digital TV for several years. And then that company went bust in 2002. So I ended up, some people I knew, I ended up doing some stuff in the British touring cars in full-size motorsport, and I ended up then after that doing endurance racing. So I've been going to Le Mans since 2007. So this will be the 16th event. Of course, we didn't actually go to the last two events in a couple of weeks' time, and do a huge amount of live pit lane reporting, live commentary for full-size endurance racing. But on the subtext of that, when we're working for British Touring Cars, myself and John Hindhoff, who's obviously a lot of your American listeners will know he's the kind of voice of IMSA TV. So he's got a huge following over in the sports car world in the States for IMSA and Daytona and Le Mans. We were both working. We were working for a small television company called Motors TV, based in France, and they were looking for content. We were sitting in the pub. I think it was the bar of the hotel, actually, and we were just throwing around things that we could do to produce, not live, but produce recorded programs for them. So I said, well, I used to do RC. I said at that time, I just started taking up again, just do some club racing again, but on road. So well, no one does RC programs. So we thought that was a good idea. I had nothing. At the time I had no kit or anything. Just I actually ended up going around to all the British distributors like Tamiya and people like that, and they all said no. But then HB said, "Yeah, we'll back you." So thanks to HB, and by a massive coincidence, Matt, who was editing for us, ended up working for HB a couple of weeks later. So Matt and I have been working together on RC projects now for 15, 16 years. Met by accident through a mutual friend, and then he was actually editing the first few shows, and then he ended up getting a job at HB completely independently, even though they were sponsoring us. So HPI, I should say, HPI. It was the RTR side of it. So we ended up getting the finance to do that. This was a half-hour magazine show, and the first thing we did was went down to the World Championship in 2006. Filmed with a guy called Ray Wood from Ray Wood Videos, who really helped us out in the early days.
I know him. I don't know him, but I remember his.
Ray's a great guy. Still racing down in Australia. And so we kind of cobbled together a series. Really, we ended up going to a Neo in December 2006, and it was a typical magazine program. You look at it; all the shows are on our YouTube, but it's quite dated. Like some reason for the first couple of episodes, I decided to use an accent that was probably more akin to 1930s BBC. It was like, and hello, here are all the cars, and they're looking very lovely with their batteries and their motors. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but we soon relaxed into the style. We ended up doing that TV show for kind of on a shoestring for several years, 3 or 4 years, and then again, by luck, we ended up getting the contract with EFRA to cover their European Championships, which you had a double whammy of A, it meant we got paid to do something, and B, it meant we had a lot more content. So suddenly we had a kind of much more content-rich environment. And so the show carried on running. We ended up running the show for 11 series, initially on Motors TV, and then finally went on Motor on Demand. But that's the TV side of it. That whole half-hour magazine program kind of concept kind of died in its backside. And
it kind of died everywhere, though, in all industries.
Yeah, it's not what people want. It's been totally replaced now by the live streaming concept. People are still trying to make these half-hour highlights programs, but they just don't really do anything, and it's very hard making money out of them to us. Because at the end of the day, we're at least trying to break even everything we do. Okay, and we don't particularly want to lose money. But anyway, so we did 120 episodes of that, 110 episodes. They're all on the line. But then in 2012. EFRA said, well, we'd like to try and get some live streaming done of the events. I mean, we can't do live streams. It's completely beyond anything we've ever done before. And in those days, the only people live streaming were Live RC, but they were doing it off their own. Brandon's done some. He needs more credit for what he's done, because he actually, he wrote his own effective, program to do it. He was running the whole thing off stuff he'd written and designed on his own, because he was a software engineer. But we were quite lucky at that point, because YouTube had just set up a live streaming option through Wirecast, and we ended up being able to broadcast these muddy 360p pictures, which no one had seen before. And we ended up, kind of finding some internet somewhere and just running around Europe in 2012 and 2013, and just filming all the European Championships. And it kind of grew from there. And obviously, as it got on, we got the quality improved, we improved, our equipment improved. We bought this internet satellite so we could broadcast them all around the world. And
that got ruined in one race, I remember.
It did. It fell off. It fell off the roof in Italy in 2015. We were phoned up as we were trying to eat our food. Your satellite's come off the roof. So I mean, and that was it. we've been doing the RC stuff for years and years and years. We've done a few world championships. We did a couple, 3 or 4 of the world championships. Obviously, historically, we did one in Bangkok, a couple in Italy, and obviously we did the 2019 Electric Off Worlds at the Hoodie Arena. And we've done, we broadcast from all sorts of places. And then obviously, when it came round to RCGP, Joseph and David, we were chatting about what to do, and they said, well, we'll work with you on that one. So that's us now in the States and everywhere else. So we broadcast all around the world, and very much, throughout the COVID-19, we've expanded, and through the pandemic we've expanded. So obviously Matt's doing a huge amount of stuff with the control side of the business. It's his business. With a lot of other sports, we're branching into karting in the UK. But, we still do a lot of RC. And this year we're about to kick off the next thing RC wise is the second round of the RCGP, and then we've got the whole European season. So and that's the whole team. I don't do all the commentary on that. We've got James and Matt with 2 T's, who do the commentary of that, and I'll be doing the commentary in Portugal. And we go all around Europe doing that. And then, of course, the big one this year is that we're covering the world. So we are covering the 1/8 worlds. That will be, just in case anyone's worried, that'll be free to air. They want still completely financed by us. The EFRA stuff we are subsidised by, but for the IFMA give you no money whatsoever. So it's all funds raised by ourselves. So so that event, which is, he says, look at his diary,
September,
from the
beginning
5th,
of September,
5th to the 10th, we think it may be the 6th to the 10th, the actual coverage of September, and that'll be live and on our channels, and we're obviously preparing and getting everything ready for that one. And then
who will you be doing that with? You think? I think I'll be there. I should be there.
Ooh. Well, the team will be obviously Matt will be in the team, and then a couple of camera guys as well. So it's we got a bit of slightly bigger team before, and we'll try. We'll do what we can do. You've seen,
I love it.
We've got, I think it's been natural progression. I think it's quite fun sometimes to look at the early events we did, and they are so it's like a bloke and a camera with a handy cam, and you can vaguely make out what's going on. But at the time, that was cutting edge. But now everyone wants 1080p, 25, and whatever it may be. But you kind of move with that. But I mean, it's been yes. I've been doing this motorsport journalism and RC stuff now. This is year 26 or year 27, and I still quite don't know really how I fell into it. But it's all a bit of fun.
Right. Now, just real quick. So when you was doing this in the past, was it your full-time job, or did you always have you had a full?
No, I've always worked in technology sales, so different parts of technology sales. I always had a full-time job. Sometimes I had to be quite intelligent in embezzling holiday. And you have to remember, of course, for the American viewers, we get a lot more holiday in Europe than you guys do. So it's a little bit easier to get out. But it's a lot of the events you only need a couple of days, because you kind of go out on the Thursday and back on the Sunday, and so you just it's kind of condensed flying out and getting back. So I mean it's always have full time. I've got about 4 jobs now. So just, for example, I think I was talking to you earlier, but we're doing a karting event this weekend, and then I got a few days off, and then we do another karting event. So then I go to the Nürburgring 24, which is the full scale event. Then I got another karting event. Then it's Le Mans for a week, and then it's RCGP round 2. So it's kind of and in between that, I should be doing some day job as well. But
I don't know how you have a day job. I don't.
Bosses either.
So with the full scale stuff and the endurance races, how do the shifts work?
It's basically we've kind of, it's such a really good question actually, because we've kind of adjusted that. It used to be you do really long chunks, so you do 4.5 hours on and then 4.5 hours off. Effectively, you tend to have 2 rotating teams. So if it's a small event, there'll be 2 of us. One. If it's a bigger event like Le Mans, there's 2 sets of 2. But we found that didn't really work, because you kind of you weren't, after 4.5 hours you weren't that good, because in the pit lane you're moving the whole time and you're having to concentrate on what's going on. So it didn't work quite so well, because you got a bit tired, and then also because you were downtime for 4.5 hours, you lost the flow of the race. So now you tend to do it 2 hours on, 2 hours off.
That makes sense.
It's a little bit stretched out overnight, but it just means you kind of keep involved with what's going on, and you're always fresh and ready to go when you change in. So I mean it is. Working the pit lane in any race is, any long distance race where the pits is really important. I always think it's much harder than just doing the commentary. The commentary is quite easy. You look at pictures and just talk. That's but obviously you're at the pitch. You've got to seek out the stories. You've got to ask people questions they don't want to be asked when they don't want to be asked them. You know, and it's a more interesting thing. And also, of course, you get cold, wet. We either get cold or too hot or too wet. You know, we just suffer for our arc here, and it's a nightmare. It's constant suffering.
It was bad at South Carolina. It was windy.
That was windy. That was
windy.
yeah. It's in fairness, horrendous heat or rain is worse. Especially, I remember one year at Le Mans, it was unbelievably hot. It was like 35 or 36, which for us is unbelievably hot. I mean, it's middle of France.
It's like 85 people.
Yeah, you're wearing a 3-layer fire suit. And you're moving around, and then the sun's on you, and it's just like you're just drenched. And I remember there was another year again at Le Mans when overnight it went down to 3 degrees, and you're sitting there, and you got a 3-layer suit, which is quite nice, but it's still absolutely freezing. You can't keep yourself, you can't put extra layers on because obviously anything extra in there has to be fireproof. So you sit there going, so it's both elements, but you know, it's a great event. It's all these races are great fun to go to, and.
What about the kart and stuff? Are you guys streaming that, or are you just commentating that?
Yeah, no. We've started sort of just prior to the pandemic. We did our first event, and then obviously everything stopped for a year and a half. And we did a couple at the back end of last year. We've picked up the karting scene in the UK is very, very healthy at the moment. You know, it's I'm not sure how it'll be in 6 months' time, but currently it's very, very healthy. And there's 3 or 4 sort of. There's one big national series and sort of 3 or 4 sub series, and we just picked up a contract to cover this sub series, and it's just for sort of like, so I suppose you call it like a regional club championship, even though it goes over the whole of the country to give it a kind of a feeling of where the level is for RCers. So we stream that. We'll be there. We're going, this weekend. We stream just Sunday race day, 7 or 8 hours. And
okay, so it's just 1 day events. How many people are attending these events? Is it big? Obviously, it's bigger than RC, but are these races bigger, or is it?
Well, we've done 2 rounds of this championship so far, and they had about just over 200 as first competitors for the first round, and just under 200 for the second round. So, and there's much like. An IC event, it's never just one person and one cart. There's always a dad or a parent or a guardian or a teammate or whatever it is. So it's the villages are pretty impressive. They kind of actually when you look at the big kart meetings in the UK, the paddocks kind of it's an upscaled version of an RC paddock. There's awnings everywhere, and
it's more expensive. The people always complain about the RC being expensive.
It is. Factors. I mean, this is the thing. The championship we're doing is designed to be more cost effective by limiting tires and that sort of stuff. But it's no secret that the top karters are paying £150,000-200,000 a year.
That's insane amount of money.
That's the top guys. The top guys in championship. These are the guys who want to go on and be, Lando Norris or Lewis Hamilton. But if you're even relatively competitive, you'll be spending thousands of dollars, thousands.
What's your favorite form of full-scale racing?
Full-scale racing? Oh, I'm an F1 fan. That's where I started many years in F1. Obviously I kind of have lent more into the endurance side of things. I actually been lucky enough to do quite a few races in the States. So I was, my favorite circuit is Atlanta. So I've done them a few times. So I actually prefer, this sounds sacrilege, I actually prefer the way the Americans go racing. With the kind of way the pit lane works, and because it's purely from my kind of pit lane environment. I've always American sort of the over the wall, behind the wall, and the fact that the paddock is behind where the actual pit work is, and so I just find it much easier. And obviously, on the whole, most Americans as a whole are slightly more savvy, which has changed a bit, but certainly historically they're much better. With the media, they were understood more while the media was there. There's a point with some people that has changed, but certainly, for example, when I was doing F1 back in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was very much the media were the enemy. There were none of these, there was none of this. All the drivers had to come to a staged area after the qualifier, after the race. You had to try and find them. They didn't want to talk to you, wouldn't talk to you. So
it's kind of like RCGP. We have RC races. You got to go hunt them on.
If you tell them they have to do it and tell them what will happen if they don't do it, they'll do it. Otherwise, they don't want to do it and they'll go away.
Exactly, like media day. You don't want to do it, you don't get practice. Simple as that. What, real quick, was on Formula One? We just had the race in Miami. What's your thoughts on the popularity of Formula One? It seems to be really popular in America right now.
I think there's a big thing about the Drive to Survive effect. I think Formula One came from a point but towards the end of when Bernie Eccleston looking after it, before Liberty took it over, Bernie had a very blinkered opinion of how to grow the sport that had slowly become more and more out of date. Where he was trying to maximize revenues in areas like the amount he charged the tracks and that sort of stuff. Liberty came on board and just kind of modernized the concept. You know, they actually acknowledged the existence of social media. They were a little more free and easy with some of the copyright issues. So they enabled the sport to get out to the younger audiences, because the younger audience obviously are viewing through social media platforms. And obviously with Netflix as well, which I suppose certainly within the English-speaking world has kind of given a kind of a personality to some of the drivers and given a little bit more, kind of feeling of belonging. I think it's certainly picked up. Now, of course, the thing to remember is the other thing that's, Liberty have done as well, is they provide the races free of charge and advert free in the States, which is kind of unheard of. You aren't having commercials on there, and they've done that to grow the sport so they can get the races and access. Obviously, what is the biggest? Well, it is the US is the biggest market currently not being served properly by F1, and that's why. Yeah, and it obviously helps. We've had a couple of good seasons. That always adds to the positive feeling about it. So yeah, I mean, I think F1's kind of what it did was it's not. It looks like it's on a massive up, but what really happened was it did that before. So they started from a lower level than they needed to, because it had kind of it got left behind in the modern media world. But now, obviously, it's gone back. It's gone back to the total behemoth it is, and it's a situation where you see other series begin to suffer. Formula E is suffering because it can't find any space in the marketplace now.
I say NASCAR is suffering too. NASCAR's been suffering for a while.
Yeah, well, NASCAR, had its absolute glory days. 2000, 2005. They could do no wrong, and they've naturally got an issue. Their issue they have, interestingly, is similar to the one that Formula One had a few years ago. In just their demographics are too old. They've got a fantastic loyal fan base, but the loyal fan base is over 55. Mm-hmm. Now, as we all know, everyone's after 18 to 49 demo, so they need that. What NASCAR needs to do, I mean, they kind of wail and gnash about the product, but if you like stock cars, they're reasonable racing. The problem is that they need to find a way of marketing it to the younger audiences, and so they are single market. There's nothing. NASCAR doesn't get shown outside the States.
No, it doesn't. It did. It was popular, like you said, in that time, but now I think it got too big, and then it got too much rules and too much regulations, and then that's why a lot of people stopped watching it. And it has to appeal to people outside of America, and I don't know too many other. I mean, they do some they do some left turn racing in England.
Yeah, they've added more. They've consciously added more road tracks. They've also tried to move away from the mile and a half ovals, which got very samey and very dull. They have a good mixture of circuits. They've got a good quality. I mean, I would never say just because you're turning left, you're not talented. It's still a huge talent to be able to do that at the speeds they're doing and run it. It's a different talent. But it's a huge talent and motor racing talent to do it. But yeah, I think that there's nothing wrong with being just an American sport. I mean, most of the big sports in the States are 95% based in the US, or at least the North American marketplace. They do a bit of bleed out, but not a lot. But they are, they just need they just have an image problem. I think they've also reached their bottom, and they're being to climb up again. But I don't think they'll ever get where they were 20 years ago.
I don't think so either.
But it's a very. I'm more than happy to watch some of the big races. I mean, I'm not someone who want to watch all 39, but if Daytona's on, or I do quite like them when they go around Watkins Glen as well. 2 or 3, and there's a huge amount of talent there. Yeah,
and it kind of. I mean, RC is suffering from the same issue. We our demographics are old. We're not. Afro is the only federation I see putting any effort into getting young people into RC, which I give them a lot of credit to. It's difficult. It's difficult to get these young people into RC, to appeal to them. It is all about social media. There's quick videos and all that type of stuff. But getting them in here and keeping them, maybe in Europe it's a little different, because it seems like the young racers that get in stay for a long time. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe because they don't do it as much. I don't know. But I see a lot of the American racers getting in and getting up when they don't get to a certain point. But there's no focus on them at all. At least in Europe, you have the junior finals and all that type of stuff, and you make a big deal out of it at the Euros. But in America, it seems to suffer from that. How can we reach these young racers? You're a media guy. How do you think we can do it?
Well, I think that what you're touching on there is that the RC racing scene in Europe and America is incredibly different.
Mm-hmm.
And the key difference there is that virtually all the clubs in the States are businesses, whereas virtually all the clubs in Europe are clubs. So they're run by the racers for the racers. So, they're not necessarily, they're more than happy to, there's a different attitude. You're not a customer, you're a member. And that is both positive and negative. That has pluses and minuses to it, because the commercial organization in the States has great advantages, as does the club version in Europe. But both of them have, I'm not in any way saying one's better than the other, but it does give a different attitude to things like bringing youth on and that sort of stuff. Because obviously the clubs, they kind of want to, they need to have the kids to keep the clubs going. Whereas the business, because the clubs obviously can think 7, 8, 9, 10 years in advance. Whereas the businesses need to think the next quarter. So if they can find something that is bringing in the cash, they'll run that particular event or that particular way.
Makes sense.
You only have to, I don't, but there's just been a couple of really big races in the States with the PMB and Silver State. Those events would never run in Europe. No one's going to turn up and do one race a day or one practice a day and 2 races and 4 classes. But it's absolutely fine for the American marketplace. But I sit there and I know PM, and this is not me dissing PMB or anything about the event, which looked fantastic. So please don't shoot me. But I don't think saying I had 1,000 entries, I mean, obviously not 1,000 people, 1,000 entries is necessarily something to boast about. Just to me, it seems that everyone's getting less time on the track. And surely that's why we go racing, is to have track time. So
I agree with you, but this is the measuring stick of races in America, apparently. Whereas,
but
I'm on a different level from, like, I don't, I get it. They have to make money, and that's how they make money.
Yeah, but how much money do they have to make? I mean, it's an interesting argument, isn't it? I think you were talking a while ago about one of the series which decided to have less entries, but the entries cost more. And I was thinking about it because the really big international events, there's only really been a couple of big international events in Europe, and it's not like, because it's just more difficult than it is in the States. But so we go to Neos, which obviously, and then obviously the DXRs, which unfortunately ended in 19, but they were charging quite a lot of money. They were charging £200 and something pounds, and $300 probably for an entry.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, but you got a lot of time.
You've got a huge amount of racing on there over 4 days, and it was a single class. So you were on there 6 or 7 times a day. And it's that balance, isn't it? It's obviously if you enter enough cars, you can get some track time. It's just kind of like, is that, then you turn around and go, hang on, I've just invested, each of those cars is probably $2,000. So I've got $8,000 just to enter the event because I need the cars to do it with. If you're not sponsored, you're going to run 2 events. If you only run 2 classes, well, that means you get 10 minutes a day. Also, perhaps being unfair.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you.
So that's the difference. And I think, and there's a huge, and I think that again comes through to the fact where if you're chasing numbers, then you just want numbers, and if it is the middle-aged blokes who are turning up, I know the ones who can afford to take 3 days off and drive down to a flight down somewhere else with their kit because they have them. As you know, we're all poor at various times in our life. Normally when we just got married, just had kids, is when we're the poorest. So, and then if we're lucky, well, by the time the kids are 10 or 15, we're back in an even keel again. But, and so if you're a commercial organization, you're going to say, Rove, do I want to capture 500 middle-aged blokes, no offense, or do I want to get 50 kids? You're going to go, well, I have 500 middle-aged blokes, please. But it's and this is not, again, this is just the economics of how RC is different in the States than it is in Europe, where it's much more of a like, well, it's a club, this club wants, and the club wants to have, I've belonged to a few clubs and I've visited a great number of clubs in the UK and in Europe, and I've never seen any club not be desperate and welcoming to kids. They always want the kids to come on. They'll run a separate event, a separate heat with 2 cars because it's 2 kids.
Yeah,
they don't want to put them in with the adults or and obviously that's and you've got the time because you've only got entries of 70, 80, 90, so you can do that. And they try and there's a nurturing element. Now I haven't been to smaller meetings in America, so please don't spam me and say that's what we do here. Just my observations about how those larger meetings work.
Yeah, it's interesting to have you on because we always get complaints about being too Euro biased. Obviously, we have JQ, we have Max, and I guess I'm in between because I'm not European or American. but I think it's just coming from what I'm seeing, watching, talking to you guys, and like every European that I talk to pretty much says the same thing. So it's just two different cultures. I mean, we witnessed that at RCGP recently. You know, people weren't used to a certain, you know, some people got it, others didn't.
Yeah, I mean, there is a flip side to that, and that's that, you know, just take RCGP as an example. If you look at RC2 sells out in the States.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it may certainly we never expect round 2 in Italy to sell out. Hopefully, we'll get a reasonable number, and we may get some. We again for the round 3, it has to be announced now, so I can say this. Down at the Nemo Raceway, we should get a good number there. But if you remember in season 1, we had what the Austrian round had about 25 or 26.
Yeah, it was very loose.
The Italian round had 57. We turn up at Thunder Rally, and it's rammed out 119, 120, and we were turning people away.
Yeah,
because
people want different, dude. They want different.
Yeah, well, I think also that there's a much more of that. And one thing I do like about how the Americans go racing is they are very prepared to get in their hauler, get in their truck, get on a plane, and go and do an event which they see as a little bit bigger than they normally do, a little more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that isn't always the case. I mean, yeah, if we go, say we have Nemo will have a good entry, but there'll be Brits. You know, and Italy will have an entry of the Italians. I mean, I know it's different because it's cross, but you won't get many people. So Italy obviously is connected to the whole of the rest of Europe, apart from the UK.
Right.
But I doubt we'll have many people come down who are from France or from Germany or from Switzerland, which is a lot less of a journey than going from one end of Texas to the other. So, you know, that's it. You know, if you were chatting to the guys at S&B, you know, where have you come from? California. Oh, yeah, I drove. You drove? You know, where have you come from? I drove. Oh, right, yeah, the guys who come from Canada. Okay, you know, that's, you know,
mm-hmm.
from one end of Europe. I know it's the same country. I know Canada's not, but California to S&B is as far as anywhere you can go in Western Europe.
Yeah,
so
I think
that's as far as Sweden to Portugal.
Yeah,
you know. But that's the mentality of the Americans is, yeah, we'll have a road trip. It's fine. It's
mm-hmm.
not the same. It's not. I mean, obviously, it did help that up until recently. Everyone's fuel, your fuel was really cheap, but you know,
it's not now.
But it's yeah. I think that whole cultural thing runs through, you know, the whole of RC. Yeah.
So cool. Let's talk about these events and what you guys do, because a lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I'm there now. I've done it twice with you guys now. And I have to say that these guys, like, okay, so at SMB was a little cramped and everything, but man, like between you, James, Matt, you guys have a plan. You come in and execute it. It's like, you know, boom, 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 this, that. How do you guys figure things out? Do you work on things? Obviously, you have a plan coming in, but it's a system that you guys have developed. But what is your plan going into races and stuff like that? How do you guys work it out?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the key thing is experience. You know, we've been doing live streaming since 2012, and it's been a slow ramp up. So we haven't just turned up with a fully loaded truck and gone, this is how you do it. It's all been incremental, and we've learned along the way. And more importantly, we've made the mistakes along the way. So you and it's true, you learn from your mistakes. I was chatting to someone a couple of days ago and saying one of the reasons that, you know, things tend to go well now is because they've gone so wrong every other times in the past. So when a problem comes up, we've had it before. Doesn't mean there won't be a new one, but you know, it's certain things which, you know, I've sat there, you know, with little strange live streaming errors that have perplexed me for hours, found out the solution somewhere, and of course the same thing happens again. It's just a 30-second fix. But yeah, I mean, I think we have a number of different levels of coverage, and it's entirely obviously depending on the finances. You know, it's a 5-6 man team at RCGP. When we get the Euros, it'd be a 3-man team. The Worlds would be a 4 or 5-man team. It's all really about, you know, as with all these things, it's about, you know, it's about attempting not to lose money. Yeah, sometimes we make a bit, but on the whole, we just break even and have a good time, which is fine. That's one of the fine things in age, obviously. So yeah, so we have a basic plan. We know what we're going to do. We know the kind of camera coverage. We've got the equipment. We've got to set up. It's really a case of rolling out the kit, which is now very much quite a lot of wireless stuff. We've kind of moved to, you know, obviously up to 1080, and it's wireless, and it's you know, it makes it a lot easier, reducing the cable count. But then there's a lot of things, as you know, there's a huge amount of equipment there, because we're also trying to balance sound. We've got multiple things. We have multiple video inputs. And also you've got the timing from Stefan, which is much more complex in RCGP than anywhere else. That's one of the big differences with like Stefan, they're permitted to run the timing, whereas for all the other events, we just remotely run it off an internet page and it kind of runs itself because of the interactivity.
Just like an overlay.
Because the interactivity of the RCGP,
right.
Timing with the pictures and everything else. If you aren't subscribed to the RCGP, then obviously, I'm not sure I'm breaking any confidence saying that the round one will be released on the 4th and 5th of June, and you'll see them as live on the 4th of June. Just look at the graphics, you look at nothing else, because it's that's a work of art, which I can say that because I have nothing to do with it, so it's fine. But but realistically, what happens then is we set up, and I think at that point, we go through we testing, we kind of make sure everything works, we make sure the camera's in the right positions. And I think at that point, you kind of the stories of the race and event will come to you on the whole. You don't, you can work out where the stories are. You can work out what the stories are. We can work out where who is moving up, who is moving down, where and all that sort of stuff. And then you discover nice surprises. Like Aidan Horn. I didn't know this was a great guy.
Great interview.
And Cole effing Tollard. I genuinely didn't know either. I'd never met them before, and they're both, in fact, I hadn't met Joe before either, and he was great as well. So in fact, I think I hadn't met Brandon as well. He's really nice. So actually, we met 4 or 5 new guys, and they were all great, which means you can then have a bit of interactivity, and you can get a bit of buzz off it. Yeah, we do have a timetable, and that timetable is not just the races; it's also the other things you need to do, which is there's a lot of work which goes on prior to the event, which on the whole is done by Matt. And his side of the team, where they're putting together little vignettes and they're putting together little video packages. But once the race starts rolling, then it becomes very much a case. It's a live sporting event, so you're reacting to what you see, and you're reacting to what happens. You can't come with a preordained concept because it's not a script. The cars are going to go different, they're going to do different things, and not the way you think they're going to be.
Like Rush.
Exactly. That was as you know that we did 2 rehearsals for Rush, and I wasn't quite and the 96% success rate we got for the main event was a blooming miracle, because the 2 practices were terrible because we didn't know what was going on, and neither the drivers. But hey, we get to do it all again with a load of new drivers in Italy.
People just don't get it. It's a lot of work, and then that's why I have a lot more appreciation for Live RC and what they do. Because it's a lot of work. And being a cameraman and standing up there.
It's very easy to. Everybody has a phone, and everyone can take video, and everyone can do a 9-second vignette or a 10-second vignette, and perhaps they can be lucky enough to get a fantastic fast pit stop and go viral, and they feel they're cameramen. It's a very, very different thing to standing on a platform, listening to commentary, listening to direction, being told to cover for vehicles for minute after minute, for hour after hour. That's a really difficult job. The camera guys do a very, very difficult job, and it's very easy to criticize them. The commentators, there are it's very sweet what it says about Lefty, but some people think I'm terrible, and that's fine. Just as some people think the guys in Live RC are terrible. The fact is, we're all doing our best. Some people love us, some people don't, and
it's not easy. I did it.
I'll make mistakes. I must admit, when I first heard the concept RCGP, all the teams are going to have team cars. Well, that's great. Until 2 of the teams had the same color cars.
Oh, it was horrible.
So 4 blue and white cars in round 1 of people I hadn't met and didn't know at that point. And we go, "Oh, you've got those cars wrong, Nick." Well, yes, you have a go at it.
It was hard. It was so hard.
But
it was very hard.
But one of the things, if you are the voice or the face and you put yourself up to be knocked down, it's fine. It's that's the world it is. But everyone is trying to produce the best program possible. Live RC are trying to produce the best program they can. We're trying to produce the best program we can. Sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes we get things wrong. But on the whole, but no one does it deliberately. And I watched a lot of I've watched a lot of the Live RC's programs. It's interesting to me because Live RC have a slightly different way of covering stuff from us. No one's right, no one's wrong. Just do it slightly differently. If you watch their coverage, you very quickly work out what they do differently, and it's just a production choice. But there was a period of time. I don't think I'm breaking any confidences with Brandon, where there was a kind of an unnecessary bit of friction between ourselves and Live RC, but that's now 7 years in the past, 6 years in the past, and we just get on. I had a really nice conversation with Brandon about his big event he's got running at the off-road thing.
What do you think about that?
Do you know what? I think it's brilliant. I
Me too.
I know it's caused some ructions internally because it's on the same weekend as a major Raw event, but I think it's a brilliant idea. I think if you can take the masses, it's produce a, I think the way they've done it's really clever. I think it's piggybacking on an existing large off-road event. I don't see any negatives with it. I think the only thing I haven't even quizzing. The only thing I think would probably have done a bit better. They'd be able to announce it 2 or 3 months earlier.
I agree.
I'm sure it'd be a fantastic event, and it's the sort of thing I'd love to get. Love to be able to replicate somewhere else. But it's great. I mean, why would you not think that's not a great idea?
I don't know. People complain. I would love to go. I would love to go. Huh?
People complain about everything.
Oh, I know. I'm one of the biggest complainers. Well, JQ is.
That is true.
Interviewing or commentating? Which do you prefer?
That's a really good question. I prefer commentating for RC and interviewing for everything else.
Okay, that's good. I actually prefer interviewing. Commentating is hard. Even when you do it, it's hard.
I think it's a case of you need a lot of confidence to be a commentator.
Yes.
You need to have belief. You need to believe what you're saying, even what you're saying is gibberish. Mm-hmm. And I think if I'm in the commentary booth at Le Mans or in a full size race, it's there's a lot of people who can do the job, and a lot of people can do that who know more than me about what's going on, and you kind of end up second guessing yourself quite a lot of the time. It's interesting, really. Whereas in RC, there's only 3 or 4 of us who do it, at the level that I'm doing it at, and I kind of feel, I say my style suits some people, and I think it's pretty good, and I'm sure, and then certainly the guys in live IC, they're either very good or great, depending how you feel about it. But you have to have confidence in what you're saying.
Who would you like to work with? Who commentates in RC? Who you think you would work well with?
I'd like to work with Chris Mitchell,
the Australian guy.
Yeah, Australian guy. I haven't worked with the Australian guy. I've worked at the same meetings as Scotty. We haven't shared a booth, but Scotty's announced when I've been commentating. I think I have a huge amount of respect for Scotty and what he's achieved. We early on in RC TVs, we went out and covered the 2IC a couple of times as well, mainly because we went a trip to Vegas, to be honest. But also got content, and he's an absolute, he's won the store, and he is the voice of RC for the. Certainly for the competitors, I kind of feel, for the TV side of things, again, he's done a number. He's been doing a lot more, hasn't he, recently? He didn't do much for Live RC for a couple of years, but certainly since the pandemic, he's doing a lot more for him, and that's cool. And him and Charlie had some great team up together. I think it's interesting. I think it's always nice if you can work with someone else who you can bounce off, and that's quite important. It isn't quite the right. RCGP is very much not designed for that, because the races are quite short, and it's designed to be a single commentator. Really is a single commentated device. When you get to things, when you're covering a European Championship and you're wading through the qualifying rounds, it becomes a conversation. And if you listen to the endurance racing we do, that tends to be because endurance racing, you go a 12-hour, 24-hour race. Yeah, the first 5 laps that people are right next to each other, but then there's large periods where people are just turning laps and so it becomes a conversation, and that's always the best part, because as I'm sure you're aware, I can be very, very random. We have some very random conversations, and we've had some, Matt and I and James and I have had some great fun. It's possibly a bit self-indulgent because we are amusing ourselves mostly, but we've done some ridiculous stuff just on there because we can. One of the things, I remember we got very, very bored at I think it was a large scale event of one. So we just started inventing fake backstories for the drivers. We literally just go, Pedro Smith, and he's a vet who specialises in treating anteaters, and that's just literally, it was just because we were entertaining ourselves, and that's I think, and quite a lot of people quite like, and obviously, I think quite a lot of people enjoy listening to that because it is entertaining as a stream of consciousness. It's not. I know for a fact that when we done the Euros, a lot of people, because obviously the Euros are traditionally we used to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday coverage. So on Thursday and Friday, this is prior to the pandemic, when people used to go, people were listening in the office. They couldn't watch; they were just listening to what we were saying and what they would do. When they got to the top heat, they'd sneak into a corner somewhere and turn the picture on, but they were listening around. And it's about being entertaining. There's there's certain sort of commentary and at the end of the day, you need to be informative. And sometimes in races, it's important to be informative. And I think that's particularly important the longer the race is. People need to keep up with the information because what they're seeing in front of them isn't necessarily what's happening in the race. It might be Fred's leading, but he's got to take a pit stop, and Barry's behind, but Barry's on a 10 minutes, and you have to explain the strategy to them because it's not always a 5-minute touring car race. The guy in front's leading, and unless someone overtakes him, he's going to win. That's not the same in longer races because there's so many other things that come into play, and that's when you have to be factually correct and you have to try and explain it. But at the same time, there's no reason not to be entertaining. There's no reason not to, it hasn't going to be dry about it. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of the good commentators do it. I think what I would say, I think the differences between us probably are, I feel that, some commentators get overexcited about nothing. So I kind of, don't hype up as much. Perhaps it might be because I'm English, I don't know. So you tend to get a much more, level. I mean, it is exciting, it'll happen. Whereas I remember we went to the European Championship. I think it was the same event where the satellite crashed. And they had an Italian announcer. So the race starts, the final starts, and all I could hear the Italians go, "Incredibile, incredibile, incredibile." Like they've done like 3/4 of a lap. It's had 7. I think, how is it? Where'd you go from here? It's been incredible. What happens when something actually happens? And it's you need light and shade, as John Heinlein always said. You can't be permanently up there. You have to kind of ebb and flow. It helps people to understand if you're explaining things in I say calm voice is not my strongest point, but you're explaining stuff, and then when something happens, you're surprised with them or you're excited with them. I think one of the problems of I'm not sure who some of the problems I think of F1 commentary is people are being fake excited to try because people are constantly trying to sell how great it is when actually it's already great. So you don't need to be quite so excited. Like the opening lap, the UK commentator, I've got David Croft, I think it was on the States this year, just shouts for the whole lap. And I think you don't need to shout. Why are you shouting? It doesn't make it any more exciting. It just means that you'll just sound like you're shouting. It's the fake. I think fake excitement is the thing that if I was going to say to anybody in commentary, what would my piece of advice be? I say, if you're excited, be excited. If you're not excited, don't fake it because people know, and that's a fact. And every race is not a classic. Some races are poor, and you just say, well, that wasn't very good, and people respect you more for it. But it's there's a point where you always have to go, it's the best, best ever TM. Well, everything can't be the best ever. Some things are just average, some things are poor, some things are great. We had some great. I'll give you RCGP. We had some great races. Mm-hmm. The main hour-long final, didn't really live up to it because Ronafalk got away and did a brilliant job. Bornhorst had a wrong setup. And Lee Martin had some damage when had a runaway when he was looking to make it interesting. Well, I say sometimes your finals don't work. Sometimes they're fantastic, and sometimes that's the whole point. That's why it's interesting. If you look at Silver State last week, now I know that the only thing anyone's seen is Final again jumping over Bornhorst because it was a great end to a race, and obviously love the story with the lad winning. Now, as you can imagine, my Facebook feed is RC. Took me, because I didn't actually watch it, because obviously Silver State is way early in the morning for me. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that Mayfield had won the big event, the actual one that counts,
right?
To the way down, because it was so unimportant, because everyone was talking about this little overhead pass. Yeah. And it's great, and absolutely, it's a great story, and that's what to be excited about. But the fact is, the final with Mayfield, well, okay, he's won again. And that was it, because it's just not very interesting. And not everything is brilliant. Not everything is exciting. Yes, it's great for the people who individually win that, but for the people watching, why should I be? If you're going to be excited, you need to explain why you're excited, not in so many words. Why is this exciting?
I agree.
Am I just on some drugs?
Yeah. Little Bump did send it though. I watched that race in person.
It was a great overtake. I have to be honest with you. I think that it was he did a brilliant job, but Joe still should have won that race.
Yeah, but when Joe came off the driver's stand, he was just smiling. He was so happy.
Yeah, it's a great story, and that's what we all want. We want great stories, and it doesn't, it's not going to affect Joe one way or the other, and it's great for the little bump. It's little bump, and it's we obviously I met him when he was 8, wasn't he, in Thunder Alley, and he's carried on improving. I don't know if he's going to the Worlds, but it'd be really interesting to see where he ends up.
I think he is.
Because I think I don't think he's quite at that level yet, but we've seen some really young guys come through surprisingly. So
5 more years, he'll be at that level. If he keeps it up.
Yeah. No, he's the last person of that age I saw being that good was Malin Carson, but she obviously gave
That's
up.
true. That's very true.
Let's not go into it now with the weird reason she gave up. It wasn't her gave up. Dad gave up.
Strange. That's a story. That's a story for one of JQ's podcasts.
It is indeed. But she was great because she was 9 and making Electric A finals.
Exactly.
She was brilliant.
She's doing
very, very
karting, I think.
No,
cycling.
She's doing cycling now. She's now doing I think it's off-road cycling or kind of combi. I don't know. Anyway, it's weird because she was really good.
Yeah, weird situation. Before we close here, what can we expect from RC Racing TV? Well, we got RCGP next month. I'll be there with you. People can tune into that.
Yep.
You can pay for it, or you can pay for the free one. Or, just pay for it. Be good. We got the Euros coming up, and we got the Worlds coming up. Anything new you guys going to be trying to do? Or are you guys just happy to be doing Euros and Worlds?
No, there's a few little new things coming up. We got obviously the Euros is everything. So we start with electric touring car from Huddy. Then we go to the electric off-road, which is in the UK, 6 days. Then we go to.
They just had the warm up too.
Yeah. Then we go to Portugal that's why I'm going there for the 1/8, the proper buggy world, and then we have large scale touring car, and then large scale off-road. Then we have 1/10 IC, and then a couple of weeks later we have 1/8 IC track. Now. There's going to be a change in the way it's done. We're going to be a little bit more focused on finals day. It's going to be a bit of a program around it. And we're going to do a couple of them. We're going to have a studio show. We trialed a studio show at the back end of last year where we did I don't know whether you saw them or not. We just were doing a test for EFRA where we effectively tried to get 5 or 6 different events in, and me and Matt were in the studio in.
Oh, I did see that.
The Midlands, yeah, and some of it worked, some of it didn't. But we dipped in and dipped out of many events in different countries, and it was technically quite interesting. It ended up working quite well, and we've kind of looking at that concept moving forward for a couple of the European Championships. So we'll have a studio show for a couple of them, and then obviously the back end we're going to have the Worlds, which said the If My Worlds live on RC Racing TV. So please all tune in.
I'm sure people will.
And of course, if you are a major manufacturer or a minor manufacturer, or you just we do have sponsorship slots available still.
There we go. That's right. Help them go to the Worlds and give you badass coverage. That's what we do.
We're gonna do the coverages should be a step up. And we're looking to do what we can do. We're going to try and do the best we can, and we've got a lot of ideas. And I think at the end of the day, the Worlds is a very much a reactive event. You turn up. You film and then you'll pick up who's doing well, who's not doing well, what's happening. And we've got the ability now to talk to people. We're going to we're going to make it as interactive as possible. So we're going to try and get people up and chatting, and we kind of have that experience now. Matt's got that experience of he knows everybody as well. So I think I think it'll be a good show. It's going to be 4 or 5 days of broadcast. Well, it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's 5 days of broadcast. We know that. We haven't got the timetable yet. It's not quite sure what's happening in those 5 days yet, but we are broadcasting for 5 days. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a chance to really unite the whole of the RC community.
We need it.
We've done World Championships before, but we haven't. The most similar was the electric off-road, and we got a really good mixture of people from both sides of the pond and also the Far East. But I think with this one, which is still by far the biggest event on the calendar, hopefully we'll get everybody in. I mean, it's not too bad a time. Spain isn't too bad a time zone for the States, and isn't too bad a time zone for the Far East either. So it shouldn't be. It'd be main final will be sort of early morning, I suppose, for California, sort of lunchtime for East Coast, and just past bedtime for Hong Kong and China. But it's sort of in the middle, so hopefully everyone will get to see it and everyone want to see it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a great race, and who knows? As it stands here, who knows who's going to win?
Nobody knows. It's hard to tell. Who's going to win this one. You think? I mean, that's an easy pick. The way he looked at recently.
No, I think the thing is, it depends. I mean, obviously we've been to the Red Van track many times. It's quite a European style circuit. It's not totally European. It has some up and down, some jumps on it. You know, the four men at the moment are Mayfield and Ongaro. And if this event was in the States, I'd say Mayfield, but this event's in Europe, so I'll say Ongaro. Now, there's nothing to say that it'll end up being a massive surprise and David will find his mojo and come back again, or somebody else we don't even know, Ty might come back. There's a lot of world champions around, and that's why we can all have our favorites, but as we know, anything can happen.
Yeah, we have a chance to see. We have 3 people that can be 2-time champions here. So we've probably never even had that. Four. Buff Battier is not, I don't think he's in the running, but anything can happen. So
never count Robert out of an hour-long final.
Not in Redovan anyway. Good stuff, man. I look forward to seeing you guys again in Italy next week. I think while we're recording this, I'll be on the RCGP show next week with Matt. I think. I don't know if
you're on that as well. I'm on that. I've got filming. I've got a filming thing on this. Yes, we're filming it next week. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually Max is on there. So
I'm actually in this exact same place with a different backdrop.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you for all that you've done to RC. Thank you for letting me work alongside of you. I've really learned a lot from you. And
man, I was Lefty. It was great having you in S&B because you knew all the guys. I obviously have very little knowledge of American club races, and you knew them all, which was fantastic.
Yeah, Southeast, man, I know that area pretty well, and all the people up there. So, and even just along the East Coast. So it's good to see and be around this lap. Thank you for your time.
No worries.
Good luck at the karting races, and then I'll see you in Italy. And then you know what? I hope Miles there because I'm going to order pizza with pineapple in Italy. And I might get
Mal. I'll be there. Mal is our glorious, generous host, as far as I know. I think I'm expecting him to shower me a beer. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that would be great. Peronis for everybody. All right. Well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for your time. And see you in Italy. Good. And
thank you.
All right. Bye. So hey, JQ, I'm gonna do this new kind of segment. Because you don't have a rant. You said you had one, but you don't. And we're going to do a mid-season report brought to you by TNR Fuels and Hitec RC. Because here at the NNRC, we're all about the glory, and that glory is nitro. TNR Fuels is the hottest fuel on the market, owned and operated by Chris Now family. Will you stop?
Why am I on this side?
Because I put you there. TNR Fuels is owned and operated by Chris and his family, made by racers for racers. That is currently available throughout the USA, and I believe he has international shipping. For more information or to support the company, contact Chris via Facebook, House of RC, or you can contact them at chris@tnrfuels.com or visit their site, www.tnrfuels.com, and let them know that Lefty sent you. Thank you, TNR Fuels, for your continued support. And Joseph, we're going to go into this real quick. So the point of this part of this segment is you've had a chance, you've been to America to see 2 races. Mind you, RCGP, you didn't see the top level of America, but you got to see it at DNC, and then you got to see the top level at IBC. So in your opinion, because you've had a great judgment of what's going on in Europe and in America right now, in your opinion, who's hot right now? Give me 3 drivers who are hot right now.
Mayfield and Ongaro.
That's it? Nobody else?
That's 2. And Ronnie Falk will be hot at the right moment.
Okay. Who's not right now?
I'll give you one more.
You? Okay.
Canas is also really good.
Oh, he looked good. He looked good at IBC. And this past weekend at Spanish Nationals. At Buggyland. Which Barkan came second, by the way. Congratulations, Barkan. Barkan's getting fast, dude. All right. I would agree with this. I would say Mayfield, obviously. Ongaro after IBC, Canas. And I have to say Fenn. All right, who's not? Who's lacking from you in this 2022 season, Joseph?
Who's not hot at the moment? I mean, Cavalieri is not hot. I don't care what happened at Silver State. He's not been hot.
No, not in 8 scale. Anybody else to add to that list?
Actually, Tessman has been surprisingly uneven. What's inconsistent, you know?
Yeah, but he's cutting
Like,
thirds.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, how are you a B main guy, but also capable of winning? Like, what is going on there? That's kind of weird.
So you're saying
I'm not
for
saying
Tessman?
he's not hot. I'm just saying I just thought of him like kind of a
Enigma?
strange situation that,
Yeah.
strange situation going on there with Tessman. But who's not hot? Someone else.
It's pretty
You
easy.
know what? I have one, which is also a bit of a curious case. Boots. And the reason I say Boots,
but he did win
that
this weekend. The
he
Nationals.
did win.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but he wasn't leading. Skidmore flamed out.
Okay.
But the reason I say Boots is that he has every opportunity now
To be the best.
to be the man.
Yes.
He has S-Works, he has Reds, he works at Reds, lives in Italy. He's 100% pro driver in a good location with a good track to test on, working for, married
mechanic,
to
good
the
mechanic.
daughter of a engine company, family. So he should be doing better. Let's face it. He should be doing
I would
better.
agree with you there. He should be beating these Skidmores and these guys. And like, no disrespect to Skidmore and those guys. But I think Boots, I always had Boots on another level. So either Boots has dropped a level or I think the Skidmores have gone up a level. One of the two.
I think
I actually have them as my surprises. One of my surprises this year. Who's not this year? I have to agree with you on Cav. I know he's gonna not like this, but I have to say Ogden too.
Ogden also, I agree with that. He has not been hot.
Like
I don't
just
know
thought
what's going on there.
Yeah, I thought after, like such a great Nat, since he had a great 2021, I thought this was going to be a season, and it hasn't happened for him. I hope it does. And yeah, like I think a lot of these young guys aren't really up to snuff too. Like I was expecting bigger things from Tyler Jones by now and even Seth Van Dalen by now.
Yeah.
They still have time, but I mean, like, yeah, you got to start, when you look at guys like Ronnefalk, I'm not trying to compare these guys to Ronnefalk. This is their competition. When you look at guys like Ronnefalk and Mayfield, I mean, these guys, Ronnefalk had won a Euros and a Worlds by these guys' age, or how much wins that Cavalieri won by the different eras too. You know what I mean? But I think right now, just the competition's just so stacked. Like we kind of broke it down the other day. Like you have that top 5 that are good, and then even in that top 5, there's guys that are better than that are really good, like Mayfield and Fend are like above the level. But then, like I'm talking more in America. I'm sure it's the same in Europe. But like from that top 5 to your next to 30 or the next 25 in America, it's a battle. Like, you know what I mean? There's lots of fast young guys and older guys who are just battling it out every week, every time they get to these big races. Who's your biggest surprise for 2022?
Biggest surprise.
You know who? You know what? I have to add somebody to who's hot. I can't believe I did it.
Who's that?
Fuller. We completely forgot about Fuller. How could we do that?
Yeah.
He's hot. He's not. I'm not surprised.
I know who's hot. Phi Long.
Yeah, he is right now. But he needs to do it in Nitro Buggy too. He needs to get up there. But he will. That's inevitable for him. Biggest surprise, Joseph. Come on, quick. Who's your biggest surprise?
I'm trying to think. Maybe lots.
You know who my biggest surprise is? Jackson Brunson.
Why?
because he's consistently made A mains and not like dead last since he joined HB.
Okay.
So I didn't know, like, if my reason I say Bronson is because I didn't know if it was him being with AE and Ron Rivkin that was making him better, or was him making himself better. And he's jumped over to HB and he's gotten better, in my opinion. All right. I still waiting for your surprise, Joseph. Quick, because we
I said Lutz.
Oh, you said Lutz?
Because he's been like even better than I expected.
Yeah, but he also struggled this week.
Second at Electric at DNC, then he win Electric at Silver State.
Yeah,
right.
But I think yes.
Yeah, I think that's a lot better than I expected.
Okay. Nitro is struggling a bit, but that's because of the engines. He even said that they were testing a new engine at Silver State. It didn't work properly.
Yeah.
All right. So we got one more section, and then we're going to get out of here, and then Joseph's going to go get packing. And this is brought to you by Hitec RC. Hitec RCD is a leader in the RC systems, delivering the highest performance and reliability, supported by dedicated customer service personnel. You have the HSBC 938 1TH servers that have efficient brushless motors, titanium gears, low consumption, constant output, and a metal case. We are also introducing their new 10-scale line of servers, the DB778 WPs, manufactured with their high technology. These are also waterproof servers, and they will work great in your 10-scale on- and off-road needs. Also, don't forget about the RDX2 Pro charger, which I am actually using after I get off this phone, after I get off this recording, because Operation 120 is starting to come about. And you can charge you can charge 2 packs at a time. I've charged 2 6S packs at a time, monitoring it all on my phone through their Bluetooth dongle. So go to www.hitecrcd.com, where to buy, find the nearest dealer for you, and trust in Hitec, your servo headquarters. All right, Joseph. So we're going to do a little bit of association with her. Again, I wanted to do this with you because I know you'd be brutally honest. And we're going to say some drivers' names, and we're going to say some things. You're going to have to say the first 2 words. Should we do 2 words or 3 words? I think 3 words. You don't even need 2 words. 3 words. You're usually a 1-word guy. Well, we'll give you 3. Right? So these are your first driver up. Ryan Mayfield.
Old but dominant.
Okay. Guy's younger than you. Davide Ongaro.
Surprisingly still dialed. And that is in reference to their new car.
Okay. Jared Tebow.
Newly graduated scientist. Anti-vaxxer, dude. He saw a YouTube video. What's that? Plan? What's it?
I don't know. I don't
Pandemic?
watch YouTube videos on that stuff. That's you guys. I don't watch all of that stuff.
Tebow.
David Runafault. I can see you thinking.
Mayako's first champion.
Oh, good. I like that. Dakota Fend.
Can't stop fending.
Oh my gosh. Barry is gonna go insane.
But hey,
when
listen.
he hears that.
Okay, I have to say that he gets fended more than he is fending now. In the past, he would fend himself. Now, seriously, he is getting fended more than he fends himself.
Yeah, it's some rough driving.
I have to give that to him. But
All right.
still.
All right. Ryan Cavallari.
What was Mayfield? Old
and dominant. Oh my God. This is your friend, by the way.
I know. So what was that? Old, not dominant.
All right, we're gonna get into Canas. What do you think about Canas? 2-3 words to describe Canas.
Fast but hack.
All right. Wow. We're gonna go to his countryman, Robert Battier.
Learning setup online.
All right.
It will help him.
Mason Fuller.
Lefty's favorite driver.
Yep. He's my favorite young driver at the moment. He's good. Very good. Champion. Written all over him. What are you going to say? What do you want to say?
No.
You want to say something so bad?
No. Go on.
The Kilek brothers.
Drama, controversy, speed.
Really?
Yeah.
Those are your friends. What do you mean drama, controversy?
And speed. That's it. On and off the track.
You mean
it's
like
just
getting in trouble on the track?
Yeah, on and off the track everywhere. Not like off the track in trouble because of what happens on the track.
Okay, on the track. Not you causing, like not JQ drama. You know, not turning off radios.
No,
and putting stickers on
self-inflicted
things.
drama.
Right. Drama from on the track. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Who else do we have here? Bruno Coelho.
Pick a class.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I think.
All right. Let me think. I have a couple more here. Seth Van Dalen. We get into some of the younger American guys.
I'm trying to think how to get old news into 3 words.
Wow, you're so rude. You're so rude. This guy's he's still got potential. He's still young. All these guys are still young.
I know. Somehow never was.
Jesus, man. You're so rude. You're so rude. Like,
all right, maybe it motivates him. What the hell happened? Here we go. Like he TQs DNC and then nothing. He's like blowing out and being
like Bornhorst, like you motherfucker. Oh, there we go. Joe Bornhorst. I forgot all to put him on the list.
Joe Bornhorst.
Your best buddy. There we go. I did it for you. I think this is going to be an edit. I think this is going to be an edit. Don't ruin it, Joseph. Don't ruin it.
Superior average Joe.
Ooh. Oh, good. I like that. Tyler Jones, another top prospect.
Just like Seth.
Jesus, man.
I really like this segment. We have to do this more.
You know what? I just want to say that the views and words that come out of JQ's mouth do not necessarily express the views and thoughts of the NNRC. I just want that to be known. All right.
Okay.
One more. One more.
Overtime here.
One more. JQ.
Myself?
Yes.
Making a comeback.
No, I was thinking more like autistic asshole.
I just wanted to see your reaction.
I have one. Here's JQ.
Gonna beat Drake. 40
you know
plus
what?
Looming. 40 plus looming.
After watching you at DNC and watching him at Silver State, you and Drake will have a great battle now. Yes.
No, I'm really making a comeback.
Yeah, he's been racing way more than you. But that's a good goal. Beat Adam Drake. You know? That's your level.
I'm gonna make a main. Euros main.
I mean,
oh shit! It's at. I just remembered what track it's at.
Yeah, forget about that.
Worst possible.
You're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm so fast, and everyone's gonna be like, ying, ying, ying. Like,
if I can make a semi-final, it would be epic.
Yeah, and I think that's a realistic goal for you. Semi-final.
Okay, time to
All
go.
right, well, that was good. Thank you for
Wrap
your
it up.
time, Joseph. Have fun at the Ebuggy Euros. Please get me some video. You never do. I always ask. Tell the Viking I said what's up and kick ass. And you
I
have
think there's
fun
no
too.
coverage. I might have to
Yeah, there is no coverage. So
in the finals.
yeah, even if you can just get me some video and portrait, it would be great.
Okay.
Have fun. Safe travels. Maybe we'll have you on before Italy. I don't know. But I will see you in Italy. Thank you for your time. Everybody, get the invisible speed stuff. Remember, everybody, thank you for all the support. We can't do it without you guys. Shout out to the NNRC squad around the world. Shout out to the patrons of the podcast. Shout out to the awesome companies that sponsor us. They are Invisible Speed, Mayako, TNR Fuels. Where did my list go? I'm like searching for my list. There we go. TZO Tires, Hitec RC, TNR Fuels, Beach RC, Tekno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Mayako, JQSM, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, Clinic RC, JTP RC, RCGP, House of RC. Shout out to my boy RC Kevin, David Runnerfolk, and Alex Hagberg. You know what? Showing the sponsors some love, shows the podcast some love. Joseph, it was good talking to you. We haven't really caught up since RCGP, since our last podcast. So it was great catching up with you. Thank you for giving me more than 30 minutes. And yeah, I'll see you in Italy, dude. Yeah,
man.
Safe travels and good luck this weekend.
Soon. Actually, it's pretty crazy schedule. So now I'm going to the 8-scale electric Euros in Slovakia. Then the following weekend, we have our first national, 2 hours from here. Then it's the world's warm-up. Then we stay after the warm-up to practice for 2 days. Then I fly back and we have the second national, 4 hours from here. And then the week after that is the RCGP. Have to fly out early, prepare for it, do the race, then fly back home. So it's 5 weeks in a row.
And then you got Euros.
Okay. Well, then there's a break. Then it's midsummer, reboot, have some beers.
You know,
and then after that is the freaking Euros.
Yeah. And then RCGP.
No, sorry. It's a third Finnish national, and then immediately on the day after the national or something, fly to the Euros.
And then RCGP, UK.
Well, then after that, there's a 1 month or so break. July, basically.
Even the American racers are busy. I was talking to Tebow. He's actually busy from this weekend straight on through for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they have that, and then they have that big race. They have the E-Nats, and then they have that race coming up in the live RC race. But anyway, dude, Thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed having Beaker back. We can't do without your support. Remember, everybody, please hit that like, that sub button on YouTube. Let's get this YouTube channel growing. Sure, if you listen to us on audio, leave a comment, leave a review. That helps us out on whatever audio platform you're listening to. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow JQ's channel. Follow our Instagram accounts. All that information is in the written description of that podcast. We want to help grow the NNRC and grow RC. We can't do it without you guys doing that. So share, like, sub button, notification button, dislike, comments. We need all that stuff. We want to get on the algorithms. We want this YouTube to start making some bangs, and we can do that. Joseph, thank you for your time. It was good chatting to you. And I have to say it once again, disclaimer, the words and thoughts that came out of JQ's mouth do not necessarily represent the words and thoughts of the NNRC podcast. So if you guys get mad,
work harder.
Get
My
mad
words
at
are
him
very
over
accurate. Very accurate words, Lefty.
You know what? I will see you in Italy, and I will have pizza with pineapple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know what? We're out. See you later. Nitrous the Glory. Ebuggy pays the bills. Lefty and Beaker, that's your new name, dude. Beaker is going to stick forever. It's just stuck.
Beaker's
Everybody
gonna-
calls you that. Beaker and Lefty are out. See you later.